and welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you for watching and liking my videos and for subscribing. I'm tremendously grateful for all of my new subscribers, both in the UK and internationally. So a question that keeps popping up in the comments is whether or not it's a possibility for Johnny Depp or his lawyers to sue Elaine Brederhoft, or anyone else for that matter, who is making statements online to the press, to the media, that may potentially be defamatory in and of themselves. Because just because a statement has been made once and then a case has been brought against one party and then the case has been won, if a further statement is made, it is a further statement and it is a potential new action against the subsequent statement. So I'm going to address a little bit of that in this video. But first of all, my view is that Johnny Depp is not a particularly litigious person, doesn't just start claims for the sake of it, but felt that he had no choice in both of these cases, both in the UK against the news company and the editor of that article, and of course in the United States against Amber Heard. Now, the statements made to the media, particularly by Elaine Brederhoft, include what I perceive to be incorrect statements, in that she has, and I'll play the clip in a moment, she has stated in her own words, Amber won the case in the UK.
We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
Now, of course, that is not true, because for all the reasons said in my previous video, she was not a party to the claim in the UK. She was not a defendant, she was not a party. She was a third party, meaning she's not part of the actual claim. She's just a third party, someone from whom they have sought evidence. And in fact, there was a request for further evidence, which was refused by the judge. So as you'll remember from my previous analysis, I feel that there was evidence that was not brought into the UK case because that application for third-party disclosure was refused. Now, of course, we're dealing with two different jurisdictions and two different types of defamation law. They are broadly, in essence, the same thing, but there is a legal distinction between the two of them. In the UK, there is the burden on a claimant to, or the plaintiff, the claimant, to bring this case to prove serious harm. In the UK, known as the claimant must prove serious harm, or at least that the statement has caused or is likely to cause serious harm to the reputation of the claimant. And of course, in the UK, there is a statutory defence, that being of the truth, which is what the news company sought to rely on in the UK case. In the US, of course, most of you will be familiar with the US distinction with defamation law, and that is held to be still a defamatory statement if that statement is false. The defaming statement was said with actual malice, which actual malice meaning that the person either had knowledge that it was false or acted with reckless disregard as to whether or not that statement was false. Now, of course, in the US, that has been found predominantly in Johnny Depp's favour. There was one piece that was found in Amber's favour. Many speculate that that was just a jury compromise, perhaps to get one of the jurors across the line so that they had a unanimous verdict, all told. But broadly speaking, it was overwhelmingly in favour of Johnny Depp. So irrespective of whether Johnny Depp would be so minded, probably not in my view, but whether he was so minded to bring a new action against other parties making or continuing or perpetuating false statements that may continue to harm his reputation, or as in the US, that a false statement, a defaming statement said with actual malice, knowledge or reckless disregard as to whether or not the statement was true. Now, on the one hand, statements made by Elaine Brederhoft, she has no obligation to make these statements to the public if she's not acting in a litigation, if she's no longer representing Amber Heard as a client. She's probably under no obligation at all to make these public statements. But if she's making them at Amber's request or instruction, and this could be shown, then Amber could be brought back into the mix and back in as a new defendant for a new action for a new statement made by Elaine Brederhoft if it was shown that it's on Amber's instructions. Irrespective, Elaine Brederhoft may well be making trouble for herself if she's perpetuating or making new statements with reckless disregard as to whether or not they are true, given the fact that the jury has now come back with a verdict. Plus, there are additional speculations as to why she cancelled a news interview at the last moment, saying that something urgent came up in court. Some people are speculating that she was called back by the judge because essentially she was criticizing the judge, saying that there's evidence was suppressed, which suggests that there's some kind of wrongdoing to prevent this evidence coming into the trial, which perhaps should have come in. That, in my respectful view, is a potential swipe at the judge and the judge's professionalism of keeping evidence out that should have been in. Now, that might be one reason that she's cancelled that interview at the last minute. We probably will never know unless that's admitted and stated in full to the press. And as for the UK, obviously I've explained before that a defamatory statement made by someone who is not domiciled within the UK, the court will ordinarily not have jurisdiction to hear it unless the court takes the view that it's absolutely necessary and it's not suitable to do that elsewhere. So in summary, whilst I don't think there will be any new actions for this, it really depends on what happens next, because Elaine doing the media rounds, as it were, to give her views, and some of those I frankly just don't agree with all respect, but there may well be within those and within tweets and statements and public comments, fairly derogatory comments put out by certain other professionals, there may well be defamatory statements made within those derogatory comments, and they could result in new actions against the makers of those statements, which includes Elaine Bredehoft. But all that notwithstanding, unless there are a number of further statements made, my personal view is that Johnny Depp now feels that he has won, certainly in the court of public opinion and of course in court with the unanimous jury verdict, probably just wants to move on with his life, probably just wants to move on now that he's essentially proven that these statements were false and achieved a significant jury award in his favour. So what happens next will remain to be seen, but it is certainly a possibility that some of these statements made or will be made in the near future may well be defamatory, and there may well be a new action potentially arising out of those. So you can be sure that I will follow up with any of these as and when they happen. I'll give you my thoughts on them as they unfold. And in the meantime, if you would drop a like and subscribe on my channel on this video, I'd be very grateful. And as always, thank you very much for watching.